When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back.
Generalized black woman is doing this and being this. That is that is irresponsible.
No,
when you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back.
Showing me,
black and proud. Claim you're Africanist, black and proud.
I think that if
when you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back.
As a page,
what is the status of people who have FBA?
I'm telling you. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back.
That's why I was laughing, because I am
claim you're African.
I'm not saying the framework doesn't do a thing, but
become a part of it.
We've been
embrace
forward to black men
become a part of it.
Being in the control. We
become a part of it.
Only
embrace it.
That those one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Embrace it. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind
that
back.
mental growth takes place. You've been misled by leadership, for instance, that think you can consume.
When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
Peace and power, family. Dr. Dahl back in the building. Special guest family. Get your popcorn ready. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe as you enter the building. Make sure you put these things out in the chitty chat. Make sure you put it in your group threads, your WhatsApp groups, all the different groups, because we're gonna have a powerful conversation today, family. Special guests in the building. Exclusive, look, exclusive, actually special edition as well. We coming to you live on a Tuesday night. We typically come to you on a Wednesday night, but nonetheless, we're coming to you on a Tuesday night. And what's going to happen is, in fact, let me just give y'all something to know early on, is that when the fall semester comes in, I'm going to be teaching on Wednesday. So I'm going to switch to Tuesdays, because I love teaching so much. You know what I mean? I love teaching so much that I definitely want to make sure I'm there at Bowie State University. I really appreciate that department and all that they do with a very African-centered perspective. But again, today's title, Pan-Africanism, isn't dead, or is it? Pan-Africanism, is it dead? Is it dead, or is it? I don't know. Or hold on. Let me say that again. I knew something didn't sound right. Is Pan-Africanism isn't dead, or is it? Pan-Africanism isn't dead, or is it? Make sure you, again, family, like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna get up in here really quickly today and get us started right. Get it started quickly. You know what I mean? Y'all don't know nothing about that. Hold on. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But anyway, let's do this. Let me introduce my guest, our special guest, Chairman Elijah from the 10-Day family has joined us in the building. You know what I mean? I'm so honored to have you there, brother. I'm excited for the conversation. Let the ancestral energies or whatever you work for you work as we dialogue here today. But as I ask people I often ask them, I say, so what makes you, I know it's a little funny, but what makes you essential to this conversation? Again, let me say, Pan-Africanism isn't dead, or is it? Now, what that really means is tell the people a little bit about yourself, let them know who you are, why you are relevant to the conversation, and don't be modest.
Okay.
Hey,
thanks a lot for having me, Baba. My name is Elijah Miles, chairman and founder of 10-Day family, grassroots Pan-African organization in East Baltimore, community-based. And we see ourselves as the latest iteration of Pan-Africanism in Baltimore specifically. Is generational gaps and things, but we torchbearers, we carrying the baton and carrying this thing forward. But what we do is we're a violence prevention organization. So part of what we do is that we in East Baltimore, in McElwee Park, in a neighborhood called Down the Hill, a dangerous neighborhood, some may say, but we're causing that neighborhood to rise. But we do violence prevention work. So we do safe passages, walking kids home from school, breaking up fights. But we also do community patrols in general. And even though, other people do similar things, for us, it comes from a duty that African people have to African communities. And so But born and raised in the neighborhood, found my way into consciousness, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Found my way into consciousness, but then in that finding my way into consciousness, found a purpose. And that purpose is to use my skills, my talents, my energies to do anything I can to uplift my community. And so I'm a child of Pan-Africanism. The person that brought me into this work was a Pan-Africanist. And I see myself as, you know, on the younger side of things, but committed to the same cause and mission that we've been committed to for hundreds of years.
But you saying you were birthed into Pan-Africanism. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
I wouldn't say I was born into it. I was born East Baltimore, down the hill, as a regular black boy.
Down the hill?
Yeah.
And
look, so
hold on. We gotta talk about down the hill. We can't skip over down the hill.
That's right.
Because the thing is, when you talk to out of towners, right? When people say, what side of town you from? They typically say over west or west side. They typically say something like Park Heights, Edmondson Avenue. And when they say East Baltimore, they typically are referring to down the hill. So the infamous, I mean, for not all good, but not all bad, you know what I mean, reasons. But down the hill, like you said, it's a space, a place, and it's not, it's a lot of work that need to be done, and you're doing the work in a community. It ain't always easy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And you said you come from out of that.
That's right.
All right.
And what we would call it is historic East Monument. It's in what we call a shadow of Johns Hopkins Hospital, one of the number one or top hospitals across the country. But yet we still got this poor black community, working class community struggling to survive. And just like how it is up Penn North or back of Lexington Market, it struggles with drug addiction, is drug abuse and violence and drug dealing and things like that. And so I was born and raised in that neighborhood on a block called Glover. And I was born and raised just like most black kids is born and raised in that neighborhood. I'm on a block in the early 2000s where up the street, there's people that's waving a blue flag. On this block is a black flag. On this block is a red flag. And I'm growing up into this, and I got family and people that's pouring into me, but my identity is being shaped by this environment. And what I'm being told directly and indirectly, not just by the environment, but by the music and about the movies and about the school system, is being told directly and indirectly that to be a black man, to be a real nigga, is to be a killer, a robber, and drug dealer. This was being poured into me. And I lived like that. And I wanted to go to the streets. I remember vividly 11, 12, desiring to be on the corner. And I had friends, and I had I'm the youngest. So I had older brothers that was like, no way, Lord Elijah, you're going that way. But I desired it. Even though I had good people in my life. But it wasn't until in the 6th and 7th grade, I met a teacher named Mr. Scott. And Mr. Scott had these freeform locks. And me being from East Baltimore, it ain't the most multicultural area. So I thought that Mr. Scott definitely was a Jamaican. And Mr. Scott, he was like what we would call like your homeroom teacher. He's my math teacher, but he's like my homeroom teacher. And one day, because I looked up to Mr. Scott, he was a smooth black man. He just moved differently than the other black men that was in the building. And ain't many in school buildings. But one day I stopped Mr. Scott from what he was doing just to get his attention and said, Mr. Scott, who flag is that? And on Mr. Scott's desk was the red, black, and green Garvey flag, was a Pan-African flag. But me being from East Baltimore, not knowing a lot, I thought it was a Jamaican flag. I thought it was gonna be a quick answer. Yeah, it's the Jamaican flag. But what Mr. Scott did is he said, man, Elijah, that's your flag. And he began to break down to me what the flag represented. And for a little boy that's growing up on a block that see people waving blue flags and red flags and black flags, for Mr. Scott to say this is your flag, and this flag doesn't divide you from the black people that live on this block and that block and up the street, but it connects you to black people in their neighborhood, Baltimore City, but across the world. It changed my life. It absolutely changed my life. And so that's where I come from. That's what gives me my start. And so what I would say lastly is that even though I had a mom and a dad and I had family members. They all couldn't provide me the identity that Mr. Scott began to provide me, and that shifted and changed my life, and it gave me a purpose. I was a boy that didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but from there I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something to contribute to my community.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the community, and we could extrapolate or expand on that as we go throughout. But again, family, as you come in, please like the video, share the video. Please share the video. Please, get the numbers up. We're gonna go in. In fact, we're gonna open the line up at some point to talk to Chairman Elijah. Again, Pan-Africanism isn't dead, or is it? So, what's Tyndale family? The short version, and we can extrapolate that throughout the talk today.
So again, Tyndale family is a community-based organization. It's a Black nationalist organization. It's a Pan-African organization. It's an organization that prioritizes programs that relate to identity, self-improvement, community service, and development. And so because that's our priority, we do a couple different programs. One of our flagship programs being the cadet program. And the cadet program is a program that's geared to give Black boys and girls a knowledge of self. So every Sunday we meet with the youth that's in our neighborhood and making sure they know who the Black Panther Party is, know who Marcus Garvey is, know who Ida B. Wells and Sojourner Truth is, know who they are, because we know the schools ain't providing that. But bigger than that, we don't just teach them who they are. We give them what Mr. Scott gave me as a duty to serve. And so also connected to with that knowing who you are, we put a broom in their hands, put trash bags in their hands, and say, now we got to serve the Black community that you learning about. Because from what that history is supposed to give us a sense of duty. And so that's the cadet program. It's that knowledge of self piece, is that community service piece. But we look at ourselves, even lastly, tying up the cadet program. The cadet program is kind of like the Black Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, where the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts teach kids how to survive in the woods and all that type. We try to teach Black boys and girls how to survive in the neighborhoods they live in and be the future leaders of those neighborhoods. So, go ahead. Yep, that's the cadet program.
Yeah, let me say this, because I think I went out of order a bit today. I want to say I really appreciate Brother Elijah and the Tyndale family for the work that they're doing. Recently, they came to my class at Bowie State University, my doctoral class, and the doctoral students love them and the information they provided from that street level site, that view, that and the work that they're doing on a community level. It was a beautiful experience for my class. They really appreciated it. But I want to say that one thing I can say about Brother Chairman Elijah here is that as long as I've known him, one word that comes to my mind is passion. You know what I mean? And I'm a skeptic. If anybody,
you're gonna investigate. You're gonna see what's up under there.
Yeah. If anybody knows me, I'm a skeptic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know that about me?
Oh, yeah. You investigated me from day one you met me. I was like 18, 19. Yeah.
Say it again, brother.
Yeah, you investigated from the day you met me when I was like 18, 19. So you gonna look what's under there. Yeah.
And how old are you now, if you don't mind?
I'm 31 years old.
31.
So yeah,
18 to 31. You got some time in.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would love that as we go on to speak about, maybe I have that as one of my questions as well, is what you've learned over those years, right? But I want to get in like this. Okay, so one thing that comes to my mind is my dear brother's passionate. And there's a lot of people that seem passionate. Let me say that. There's a lot of people that seem passionate. But look, I check people out. Look, for real. I test them, I check them out, I do all the things. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to say that my dear brother Elijah Miles has passed the goddamn test.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, when you see people in and committed, because look, when I see, I'll just be real honest. I'm real frank. So the thing is, when you see people out there and they look real good on the camera, and I'm telling you, Tendare family look good on the camera. You hear what I'm saying? Tendare family, look, they look good on the camera. I was going to show some things, but to me, I'm one of those people that flash and looking good and glitter. It make me skeptical a little bit more.
That's
so
right.
That's
right. I know exactly.
Hey,
what you mean.
Anybody know me? Look, I'm like, hold up, I'm not impressed. Hold up now. But of course I watched and you know, and all those different things. And I must say that, you know, and to me, you got to go through some challenges. You know what I'm saying? And if a person's been through some challenges and they still stay, that's something about their personality.
That's right.
You know what I mean? People can't fake it but too long.
That's right.
So again, is Pan-Africanism dead or not? We're gonna talk about it. So
I speak to something you just said. That's so deep. And one thing I tell my team all the time is that we are dealing with a community that has been misled. We're dealing with a community that may at times be distrustful of us when we come on with our good intentions and we genuine and we try to do the work.
Yeah.
And we have to be humble enough to earn their trust, because the reason why they distrust us is not because of something that we did, but it's because of some people that have came with that pro-blackness, that consciousness, that whatever, and came in them stripes, waving them banners, and have misled people, have stole money, have abused people. And so they have all that in their back of their mind. And so we have to be humble enough to stay the test of time, to say, the show and prove that we're different, and not just say, man, y'all should just know I'm different. They can't see our hearts and minds. And even if they can, they got to see us over a period of time so they can know where we at and do. So I appreciate that, Baba.
Facts. And you know, one thing I want to say, I appreciate that too, is one thing I'm going to say about Baltimore City and its Pan-African community is that it's a strong force. You know, and what I'm going to say is it's not always been easy. But right. It shouldn't be. But when there's friction and tension, but you still people persist, that tells you something about their character, their personality, their durability, their, you know, all the different words, you know, their tenacity. And it tells you that you can depend on these people.
That's right.
Brother Davon Love was on a panel not too long ago. Bro. And one of the things he said is that, you know, and I agree with him, like some things, relationships have to be kind of to some degree intentional, but also organic. You know what I mean? You have to, as you said, build this, the trust of the people.
That's right.
And I say the same thing, because I think where there's much is given, and you know, there's responsibility. Or I don't even know if I like much is given. I just said it because
right.
But I think y'all follow what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Where we have to earn the trust of our people. And I also realize that even me, I have to also do that as well. And I mean, in various levels. I'm talking on various levels. And I'm saying, look, you know me before the DR in the front, but I realize with the DR in the front, you got to now even like that. You got to now earn trust even more.
Yeah.
Because they don't trust you.
Yeah.
You one of them. You a brainwashed Negro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, hold up now.
Yeah.
I didn't went to school for us. What you mean? So I had to like, hold up. Okay. You know, the same thing you saying.
Yeah.
And I've been doing community work for a long time. And even the people around you start like, oh, he's smelling fresh air now. No, that's not it. But we got some trauma to deal with.
And they done had people that came with that doctor label that done did stuff.
Yeah.
They done had people like myself. And it's part of my story is that, you know, all of that stuff that Mr. Scott put in me, it propelled me
yes, sir.
To go to Morgan State University and graduate from Morgan State University. And some people may think that may work for my benefit, but sometimes in a city like Baltimore,
yes, in
different circles, that may work to your detriment.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm serving in the community that I'm from, but I never been to prison.
Absolutely.
You know, so all of that stuff, it's so much distrust, and so it got to be some understanding. It got to be some humility on the part of those that serve,
right?
To say I'm gonna stand the test of time and show and prove that I ain't like the rest of these niggas, because we understand it is an environment where people are misleading people and
it's true,
doing people bad. Yeah,
the trauma is real.
Yeah, the trauma is real.
Yeah,
it's trauma.
You know, the trauma is real. So I appreciate that. I mean, and I must say that I was really touched when you came to Bowie State University and talked to my students I don't know if I told you that, but I was really touched.
Mm.
I'm talking about to another level touched. You know, it was a very emotional connection within the classroom, and I saw the passion on another level, even within you. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but Umar Johnson can't fake me enough.
That's right.
You ain't gonna fake me out.
That's right.
I'm gonna say, my dear brother, I seen him, and I see the passion and the love, and it's something about. I'm gonna be real honest, like it's something about Baltimore and other places, but I'm talking about Baltimore right now, that we see some stuff that other people don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying they don't have it in other places. I'm just saying, like, you can go places and you don't have to see the things and the conditions. You think that America is this friendly place, but you can turn two corners in Baltimore and you've been a whole different world.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So it's something about that. I don't go the scenic route all the time. I go the route. I go up Greenmount. You know what I'm saying? I go up Greenmount and I go down the hill and I go through all the different places when I'm riding. Because sometimes you know, you want to kind of disconnect from all of that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, you know, we can talk more about that because I know you got some. You're doing major work down there in that area. But when you hear people say that Pan-Africanism is dead, could you tell me what comes to mind?
I would say that Pan-Africanism can't die unless our identity as a people die. If we all just disintegrate as a people completely, you know, and there's no people really serving us on an identity level, and we really, you know what I mean? It's not like we can't get completely lost. That's on the table, but unless us as an identity, as a people, dies completely, Pan-Africanism can't die. And many of the activists that exist, not just in Baltimore City, but across the country that's working on our behalf, are Pan-Africanists or were influenced by Pan-Africanists. And so, you know, the attack on Pan-Africanism is real. However, you know, I think it's unwarranted. Pan-Africanism has given us Malcolm X, has given us Kwame Nkrumah, has given us Kwame Ture, formerly Stokely Carmichael, has given us some of the greatest leaders that we've ever had. And so, yeah, Pan-Africanism for me, it can't die. It can't die unless us as a reality, as a people group, dies as well.
So as long as we exist, Pan-Africanism will exist.
As long as we exist as a people. You know, one thing that brings to mind is that it's a little bit of a proverb at the beginning of Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, and where I think it's a young guy that comes to an older guy and he asks him, like, what happened to the people of summer, the black people of summer? I heard it was black people that was here. And he was saying that they forgot who they are, and so they ceased to exist. And so unless us as a concept of a people, and some people, it's a great book right now called I disagree with some of the stuff in there, but it's a book. I think it's a dope idea. It's a book called Disintegration. You ever heard of this book?
No.
The basic thesis he's claiming that there's no longer one Black America, that there's 4 Black Americas, and that we're starting to disintegrate as a people. So I'm saying unless we have a complete disintegration as an identity, where I'm no longer Black, I'm no longer African, I'm just, let's say, American, then Pan-Africanism will exist. But me, I have a spiritual connection to Pan-Africanism that I believe that even though I'm laying it out as a possibility, I don't believe it can die. I think it's who we are, and we always gonna get back to that. And even when there's generational gaps, I still think we always gonna get back to that core concept.
So when I hear a key word that you reiterated several times. You said, as long as we exist as a people. Now, I think that was intentional. And what do you mean by a people?
So what I mean is basically, when you think about identity of who am I, what I'm saying is, as long as Black people define themselves as a people, instead of I'm just American, or I'm just British. Like as long as we define ourselves as a people, Pan-Africanism will exist. And I think it will constantly exist because we are a distinct people group from all other people. And so that's what comes to mind. And I think it'd be important right here to plug in what was given to me as Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism to me is the awareness of that the African people of African descent are a people group. Not only just in Baltimore City or New York or wherever, but people of African descent, whether you be in the Caribbean, you be on the continent, you be in East Baltimore, we are a people group. And from that awareness comes a duty, a commitment to that people group. That's what Mr. Scott gave me, and that's what we give to others. But for me, that's what Pan-Africanism is all about. And I think that will continue to exist. Now, there's other folks that come in and divide it up and say, we're not that. That, whether it be years have passed, us being in the state, or different things that we're no longer that. But I think I think we're people of African descent from here to the continent to the Caribbean, all one people group, and we should carry ourselves as one people group. I think it's a reality.
Why?
I think it's a reality because, and this is part of the history of us as a people, is that it is a shared history, is a shared experience. That many of the things that we see that has ravaged the continent or ravaged the Caribbean, it was part and done by the same people that did whatever they did to us. So the British, the Spaniards, the Belgium, is that all of the folks that ravaged the continent or put people down in the Caribbean or did what they did as far as enslavement and segregation in Americas, we all would, it's all done by the same oppressor, the same enemy, the same opposition. So that's one. But two, and I'm no scholar of this, I'm just a student, but it's so many books and research done by John Hendrik Clark, Ben Yakiman, Chinkat Diop, that says that African people are a distinct group, and we are a distinct group culturally, spiritually, morally. And I think it's no divorcing ourselves from that. I don't think it's time, history. I think if 1,000 years have passed, we still a distinct people group. And I think the attempt to divorce ourselves from that is just it's a mistake born out of hatred maybe for for people, brothers and sisters from the continent or from the Caribbean. But I think it's ultimately a mistake, is that like no Chinese person would deny that they're Asian, no Japanese person would deny that they're Asian, no British person would deny that they're European. I think it's just our basic makeup. We're African people.
There's a group called FBA. You heard of them?
Yep. They say, I don't know if they're a group, but they claim to be a group.
Well,
they don't online hashtag movement.
They actually don't claim to be a group, but I argue that they are, just because I argue that they're a subgroup.
Yeah, that's right.
Of the African American population, but they want to act like they are the ethnic identity marker. Now, you've heard of them.
Yeah, to some extent. Yeah.
Okay. Now they say that the new way for the youth, and believe me, I'm a little confused about who the youth are. And what I mean by that is because everybody keep telling me FBA is for the youth. Now I'm looking at you, right? Now you spoke about how you were like 17, 18, and maybe you could talk about some of that work you were doing back on the campus of Morgan State and how Tendea came about. But what I hear from them is that Pan-Africanism stuff is dead, and that the youth has decided to go another direction. Now, my issue with that is that every time I hear pardon me, I don't talk about people, but as a group, I like just have a little fun. Whenever I hear fool talking, and I'm talking about an FBA person, I'm sorry, y'all, it's always somebody my age or older. So I'm trying to figure out I mean, like I was looking. You heard of the young dude named I Show Speed?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard his father arguing with him, telling him that his people are attaching to this land and that they've always been here. And but getting back to my point though is that like they keep saying the young people. So you're still considered young, okay? I just want to let you know. You don't ever get old, okay, when you got people older than you, okay? And you're still youthful, right? But you're doing a lot of work, and you're doing a lot of work. And it sounds like Pan-Africanism has inspired you and your work. Could you talk about you and your organization, your team? I don't know how Pan-Africanism inspired you from there to now.
Yeah, I can say this. This is why I said I don't know if they're a group. It's not because I don't know that they exist. It's because I haven't met one physical person that claimed it. I never met a real flesh and blood person that claimed it. It's all online from what I saw. And I'm like, are these people real? Are these bots? Are these, outside of the big guy that say you're not the leader of it? I be wondering.
Who's that?
Tariq Nasheed.
Okay.
I be wondering do all these other people even exist, because I never met a flesh and blood people. So it's definitely not a youth movement. And what I like to tell people is that Tendea family, we are organization. This part of what y'all should know is that we're an organization that recruits and trains people that would like to do the work. So if people say, man, I'm interested in changing the Black community, man, and I want to get involved, joining Tendea's family is more similar to joining the Black Panther Party than it is joining, some after school program. So to give you some context. And so we got people that's in the recruit process right now that are 21 years old, that are 24 years old right now, that are joining Tendea family. I am 31 and I'm on the older side of Tendea family. And I haven't met one person, Bob, that have claimed FBA or ADOS. I haven't met one person that have really claimed it. So it's not a youth movement. And I can honestly say this, is that whether it's FBA or ADOS or even Pan-Africanism, this is part of the Bridging the Gap, the work we're trying to do, is that many of the people that we deal with that are young, 18, 19, 21, 24, some of the stuff that I take as just a fact, they've never heard of these things. Many of the people that we're telling about, here's John Hendrick Clark, here's Naeem Akbar, here's Dr. Amos Wilson. They've never heard of these people. Yeah. And so but if we walk down East Baltimore or Harford Road and ask people, have you heard of Tariq Nasheed? They don't know who that is either. They don't know what FBA is. And so, but they've heard of Marcus Garvey, they may have heard of Malcolm X. But what I'm trying to say is that there's some gap that need to be bridged, but FBA definitely is not a youth movement, because nobody that I've met in Baltimore City moving around has claimed it. They don't know who these folks are. And so it's a gap that's there. And even with movements, what work is the movement, doing? Start, causing problems. But I do appreciate that. You said some profound things there, and I appreciate that, because you work with people your age and younger, and I may be older. I don't know. We it's open to older folks. Any person that's Black that can join Tendea family is open to older folks, but our target audience, the audience we draw the most, is young people that are inspired by the work they see us doing and say, man, I want to get down with that.
And they really don't even know too much about FBA.
No, if I called the people that's online right now, if I called them all on the phone and said, tell me what FBA is, no one knows.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I teach, and though even in the doctoral program they're like your age or younger, right? And in my class of scholars to be, or scholars in the preparation, or scholars, they already have master's degrees, right? They're already clinicians. They're clinicians. So that means they work and they meet with people daily. only one person out of all the classes I've been in knew or heard about FBA.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But they said that the youth. But every time I talk to somebody, part of my language, y'all. But every time I talk to somebody, it's somebody's fool. That's 59. Look, I'm being
right. That's right.
facetious. I had a video. I said he's a 59-year-old fool trying to put me in my place.
Mm-hmm.
But he was beating me up. I mean, he was trying to beat me up, but I was showing him love because I'm being a little funny with the fool part because I love my people even if they sick.
Right. That's right.
You know what I mean? But okay, so with that though, with what you just said, like Pan-Africanism, I think if you already answered this, you know, I was multitasking.
Good.
And the inspiration, I mean, whatever it is, what inspired you? It could be something, it could be African centeredness, Pan-Africanism, it could just been the nation, whatever it was what inspired Tendea family from its inception?
Yeah, from his inception, like I said, it's like I said, my starting point, my origin point is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade with Mr. Scott.
I'm sorry, I'm saying in the Morgan State University.
With the Morgan State University.
Yeah.
So let's speed up to Morgan State University 2015. Something real historic happened in Baltimore City, and that was the Freddie Gray uprisings. Is that in my time, it was the most rebellious thing that I've seen. And us that's in Baltimore City, especially when you young, you 16, you 17, you 18, man, you say, man, if we flip this table, if we go off, things is going to radically shift. It's no doubt about it. Things going to shift. And so I lived in a time where I was able to see rebellion, not revolution, rebellion as a solution played out. And what I seen with the Freddie Gray uprisings is that, you know, it was a lot of people listening to concerns. It was a lot of people acting like they were going to do something. But after the cameras went away and the civil rights legends went away, things moved on, and then things went back to the way they were. Regardless of what politicians said, regardless of what anybody said, things went back to the same. And so what that did for me is that showed me and the people that were my comrades that, that change don't work just like this one moment. That it's going to take a movement. It's going to take an effort. And what is the movement that we had in mind? How do we know that movement will work or organization will work? Is because we know by history, Marcus Garvey and the UNIA. We know about through history, we see Malcolm X. We see even the Nation of Islam. We seen organized groups, but it really was the Pan-African. It was the movement of organizations, not just in America, but on the continent that propelled our thought of like, we need to get organized and we need to create an organization and get the things moving forward. Because one of the first things we did and were doing as college students was studying. We were reading Blueprint for Black Power, Dr. Amos Wilson. We were reading Claude Anderson. We were reading all these books. I'm not saying in 2015, the whole campus of Morgan State University was into this. Right. But the people I was surrounding myself, we were into this study, which was seen most like an ancient thing. Like my age group wasn't outside of the people that were around. We weren't studying. That was more like a 90s consciousness thing. So we was into this old school thing of like studying and learning who we are. And let's read Know Thyself, Naeem Akbar. Let's read Tony Browder. And it was all of that began to shape us to say, man, organization is the way. And all this stuff we read in the books, some organization in Baltimore City has to execute on it. Has to execute it, not just read it. So
yeah, I appreciate that. So again, for me, that's showing the power of Pan-African, Black nationalism, that type of thought, and that it is a tool because, again, you're doing so much in the community. Your organization is doing so much in the community. I think when I see you, your queen, how you both work together and doing what you do, definitely. I see that Pan-African, African-centered, and type of perspective, framework, ideological, even bond. You know what I mean? Like it's examples there. In fact, I'm going to say like I see it like when you're putting this stuff into practice, it works and you can do it together.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I say that because there's something about culture that is essential. And I've heard you over the years speak about culture. You know what I mean? I heard other people speak about culture. I heard us speak about culture when we talk about from this Pan-Africanist, African-centered perspective. Could you tell me how that's informed you and Tendea, your family, you have a little one, all that type of thing? Tell me how that's been impressionable.
So culture has definitely had a big impression. The reason I'm pausing is because it's something that happened on Morgan State University that I want to mention just real quick.
Good.
So it's something that happened on Morgan State University. So here we are, 2015. We start this organization, Tendea Family. We building from 2015 to 2017. We telling people boycott Christmas, don't shop with these white businesses. We selling smoothies to fund our cleanups and programs. 2015, 2017. But it was this guy that was on campus that had what he called urban forum. And somebody had seen us organizing on campus, and he said, bro, you need to come to this joint. That's in the Murphy Fine Arts Center. And he introduced me to Baba Imhotep of Pan-African Liberation Movement. And as young people doing the work, not really having a physical frame of reference that the work could be done. The introduction of members of Tendea Family to Baba Imhotep Fatu of Pan-African Liberation Movement, it really not only plugged us into him, but it plugged us into the Pan-African scene in Baltimore City. Because before then, we thought we was the only we and we young too, so you just think, man, we the only thing that's doing this, man. We holding this up. And then he introduced us to a world that is like, oh no, it's a Baltimore Pan-African movement here of organizations that's doing different things. And that's how we get plugged in with coming to your lectures and things like that. And so I just definitely wanted to make sure that Baba Imhotep and PLM is part of that history, because as young people starting to work, they definitely were there to say, man, and plug us in. Oh, to your question.
No, and I think that's a good alley hoop, right? Because what I was going to say is, I heard culture from a variety of people, including Baba Imhotep, right? And then I hear you speak about culture. Now, what's this culture thing all about?
So culture is so key to identity. So we focus. So part of a basic Pan-African view from many of our scholars, from many of the organizers, is that we suffer from identity crisis. That part of our problem is that we don't know who we are, and that who we are is not who the slave masters have said we are, who we are, but our identity has been distorted and given it to us, and our reflection has been given back to us in negative ways, and we act those negative definitions of self out. That's key to our problem. Now, part of the rejection of the identity that's been given to us by our slave masters, by the enemy, by white supremacy, is part of it is plugging back into African culture. Because African culture is a set of values, principles, morals. When we think of culture, a lot of people think music and dance and and things like that, or even dress. But that's surface level. That's a part of culture, but it's so surface level. The real core of culture is about values. It's about principles. It's about morals. And so part of what Tendea represents and plugging into culture is a resurrection or an embodiment of those principles. So even down to what you're saying about I'm married, and when I got married, people were saying you young to get married. But even me locking into a complementary relationship with an African Black woman and building a family, that's African culture. And it's contrary to the culture of I'ma just sleep around and do all this stuff and maybe I have a couple baby mamas here, some kids over here. It's not to demonize us and what we acting out, but what I'm trying to say is that the culture of just sling it is not our culture. It's a culture that's been given to us by our oppressors and by our time in this society. And so part of what culture is about and why culture has to be resurrected and embodied, not just spoke about, but embodied, is because it represents the solution to many of the social ills that Black people face in America today. That a lot of the issues that we deal with, even organizers that's in nonprofits, that branch issues. So I'm gonna deal with the violence, but we're not dealing with the root of why violence. Why do I think it's, if you're a Black man and I'm a Black man and you disrespect me, why do I think violence is mandatory to prove my manhood?
Right.
Like where did that come from?
Yes, sir.
And did that arise from us as a culture and us as a people, or did that arise from some other people? So some of the issues that we deal with, they branch issues when really the root is culture. And so part of what today is about is a resurrection and embodiment of that culture, because in that culture we find a solution for us as a people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that culture is so essential, like you speak to. And just this whole idea of you being too young, to get married. I had a similar experience, But I think we should get married at those ages. And I think that when I think about African-centered frameworks, it says there's no adolescence period. You know what I mean? We don't go with adolescence periods are often looked at as a time where you can go and just mess up a lot of things and do your thing and sell your wild oats or whatever they call it. And you know what? And I think one thing that I think that we probably should talk about too. I mean, maybe if not this time, just in general, because I want to invite you back, as much as you want to come back and talk about issues. But it's like, even in college, right? When I think about it, and I think about most of the people like that I know who went to college right after high school, and even parents who send their children off to these universities and colleges, how they go there and they pick up all types of habits.
That's the truth. You
know what I mean? And we don't really talk about that as much as I think we should, because that is a cesspool of really introducing all types of foreign and habits to our youth that we don't talk about enough.
Definitely.
And and it's many people I know in their 40s and 50s and even 60s now. And sometimes, I mean, be honest with you, like if we don't have a good cultural grounding to bring us back, or at least keep us somewhere halfway correct when we're there, I see a lot of people, they don't grow up ever. They don't like they go to college and they pledge and they never grow up.
Just 30s to mid 20s.
And they get on my nerves. I'll just be honest with you. They get on my nerves a little bit. But I mean, they my peoples, but they just never grow up. They play about everything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, I don't know. Let me not beat up on y'all. But sometimes when we go to school, we don't ever grow up, especially, I don't know. I'm just saying a lot of times with the pledging and all that. Look, grow up. I'm just saying at some point. I'm not saying none of y'all. I'm just saying, I'm just saying y'all irritating to me. But pardon, you got something.
And that's why identity is so important. Is that even though I'm first in my family to graduate from college, second in my family to graduate from high school, I went to college in a different way than other people my age.
Yeah.
I'm meeting people from PG, from DC, from other places that generations upon generations of their family have gone to college, and they up there playing. But I came with a serious mindset because I was so grounded in purpose that this is not up here. I'm not up here as a game. And I knew the sacrifice, this is why identity is important. I knew the sacrifice that my ancestors have paid for me to be able to go to college. That I'm not in college thinking like, oh, I'm just here to just, you know what I mean, spread my seed, smoke a little weed, drink, and play around all these years and then go out in the community. And and go out to the next step of my life. I didn't think of college that way.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how college is marketed to us.
Yeah.
Even with the Greek life and the shows, that's how college is marketed to us.
Right.
And it really does us a disservice. So even I was asked by many fraternities while I was in college to join, but I found myself more morally disciplined than the people that were in the fraternities. And that's part of how Tendea Family itself gets formed, to create an organization that's membership based and things like that. But it's about discipline. I didn't have at the time nothing against Greek life, but I'm looking at the people and I'm like, you're not my moral superior.
Yeah.
Y'all doing all manner of things that I feel is harmful to the Black community. That's harmful to us as a people. And I can't rock with that if we moving like that with women or moving like that with these drugs. And we supposed to be here to serve our community. That's my mindset. We supposed to be up here getting skills and talents so we can bring those skills and talents back in service to our people.
Right.
And this is lastly, and this is why one of the most transformative books that I ever read, and that everyone should read if you've never read it, is Carter G. Woodson, Miseducation of the Negro. Is because you got Du Bois with this Talented Tenth essay talking about that these college folks is the ones, they're the best, they're the brightest, they're going to lift up the Black community. And Carter G. Woodson says, well, hold up, let's talk about how the mindset and how these people are being shaped and how they're being attacked.
Right, absolutely.
Informed. And it says, the college educated Black person, most times, the standard is not an Elijah Miles. The standard is a lost Negro that's individualistic, thinking about self and out for self, and that those folks are the last folks that is going to come back to the community and change things. And that's most times how it go. And that's part of the work that we got to do of reshaping the minds of the college, Black college students, because they can contribute a lot.
Yeah.
But they got to be given that value system and that culture that they should, and is their duty to contribute.
Yeah, I agree with that. And definitely a powerful book that we need to consider as African people. So I don't know what happened over there, but definitely a powerful book that we consider as Black African people. And I appreciate the idea around culture and tying it in with the college experience, and maybe we'll keep this going up into where you are now. I kind of like how this is kind of unfolding, but at the same time, I want to throw something in there to kind of bring it back to this FBA ADOS aspect of the conversation. And I have it written here. Some critics within FBA and ADOS circles argue that Pan-Africanism has produced no tangible accomplishments whatsoever, and that its promises have largely failed to materialize. How do you respond to that claim, and what evidence do you offer to support the value and the effectiveness of Pan-Africanism?
So there's a couple things I would say is that Pan-Africanism has produced all of the activists, organizers, not all of them, but a lot of the activists, organizers, speakers, leaders that we look at in the 19th and the 20th century. A lot of them were Pan-Africanists. That's one. And so when you look at Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, when you look at Malcolm X, when you look at all of the great scholars and stuff that we study today, a lot of them were avowed Pan-Africanists. Another thing is that between 1950 and 1980, 45 African countries were liberated from colonization. And many of the people that led those liberation efforts were Pan-Africanists, from Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba. And so the whole liberation of the continent was under the banner of Pan-Africanism. And that's why many of the Pan-African flags in Africa, many of the flags in Africa have some iteration of Garvey's red, black, and green flag. And so whether you look at the liberation efforts in Africa or the liberation efforts that have happened within America, a lot of them people were avowed Pan-Africanists. And I think part of the problem that people bring up when it comes to Pan-Africanism is because they think because Pan-Africanism acknowledge that we are connected to people across the world, that this global focus limits us locally.
Yes, sir.
And it's not the case.
Right.
It's not the case that you can understand that we are an African people and our people are all across the world, and Garvey can still work in Harlem.
Yeah.
And Malcolm can still work in Harlem.
Right.
And Stokely Carmichael can still work in South and then do some work in the continent. So we can still have a global focus and recognition of us as a people, and still say, let's focus locally. And then I'll lastly say this about the contribution of Pan-Africanism is that many of the people that talk about knowledge of self, that talk about doing for self, building institutions, self-reliance, all of that stuff, the ground that grew out of was Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism was the thought process that was leading the way of not integration, but let's build for ourselves. That was us. And so so even all of the, it's like taking an apple off of a tree and enjoying the apple and rejecting the tree. So many of the values that we currently have and push and say Black people need to have, for us to get further, a lot of that come out the tree of the Pan-African tree. So Pan-Africanism has had a lot of contributions, but ultimately where Pan-Africanism will go into the future is up to us. Not just those that call themselves Pan-Africanists, but those who do the work of building and liberating Black people, no matter where we at across the world. That's where it goes next. And I think, lastly, all of the work that's being done in Baltimore City, the major work, there's no offense to people that's not, but the major work that's being done in Baltimore City is happening from Pan-Africanists that were inspired by Pan-Africanism, that studied Pan-African scholars and were thrust to this work by the duty and obligation and saying that, man, I'm a build. But like a lot of that is happening is from avowed Pan-Africanists that understand that we are global people and are working vigorously locally.
I appreciate that. And you touched on the point that there's a misnomer that we often hear saying that that Pan-Africanists are often exclusively concerned with work over across the seas, right? And then there's also this conversation that I hear on the flip end that from other people, like saying that we only exclusively concerned with the work here. So I'm like, which one is it? But even these people, the leader of the organization, the loose group, the movement, the whatever, the ragtag combination of people says that Garvey, I mean, because I heard you mention Garvey a few times here today and his contributions. I mean, this guy says he calls them all types of expletives out of his name and so on and so forth. That's why I think that culture is so important, because this guy can say anything out of his mouth, and the more derogatory he is, the more absurd that he is, the more people are attracted to him. It's kind of like, so to me, that's like a cultural, that's a Black culture, that's a African-centered culture. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? So with that, so I want to tie back what you just said. Like you said, the works that we are doing here in the Baltimore area, lots of the groups are doing work here on different levels, including your group. I want your organization. Definitely. I want to hear, like, what is that? What are you talking about?
All the work that's happening?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
So from LBS, who is on the forefront, not just in Baltimore City, but one of the model organizations across the country of how you have a pro-Black ethic and lead policy change. Like all of the stuff from cannabis reparations to opioid reparations to the Baltimore City Youth Fund, all of these different things. We talk like ADOS and FBA, their talking points are a lot around reparations. And reparations is necessary, is justice. We deserve reparations. However, the people that's leading the forefront of reparations locally in Baltimore City is without a doubt LBS, Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle, Davon Love, Lawrence, and the rest of the team. Like, and they're Pan-Africanists. And it's the same thing when it comes to the Pan-African liberation movement of leading and have shaped and changed the mindset of those brothers that's incarcerated and making sure that they come home, knowing who they are, changing their life, getting out the streets, and not only just getting out the streets, but being a role model, example for the next generation and putting in work for our community. So a lot of the groups that lead the work are Pan-Africanists. And the ones, and this is sad, not the sad, but it's the reality is that the ones that are divorced from an identity approach, they have little impact. They have little impact in Baltimore City. So they're doing stuff. I'm dealing with homelessness and I'm giving homeless coats and whatnot. And that's great. That's a great branch issue. But the people that are leading the transformational change in Baltimore City are Pan-Africanists.
Right.
That are reforming and changing people's lives is they're Pan-Africanists. But it was something else that you said earlier in that comment that I wanted to speak to. I just can't. It'll probably come back to me.
So did you want me to restate it?
No, it was something in your last comment, not the question. It was something in your last comment that I wanted to speak to. One thing I wanted to mention though is also that like many of the when you talk about FBA and ADOS, like many of the people that they're denying, like Garvey because he's a Jamaican, is that many of the people that have contributed a lot to Black American history weren't FBA or ADOS. So Malcolm X, Louise Little, his mom is from Grenada. Stokely Carmichael, who makes the phrase Black Power, he's from Trinidad. You got Marcus Garvey from Jamaica. Even people that love Minister Farrakhan, his parents are from the Caribbean. And so even all of the folks that we look at and say, man, this is the example of somebody that put in work for the Black Americans, the FBA, the ADOS. Many of those people are from all over the place, but they didn't see it beneath them or didn't have that divisive view. And they said, man, that Black people anywhere are my people, African people anywhere are my people, and I'm willing to serve and give and live my life to fight, bleed, live and die for those folks. And then lastly, sometimes, and I've heard Tariq do this specifically, we lift up like the Nation of Islam as the premier organization. And that's excellent. But I don't even think some members of the nation would disagree that when you see the MGT in their white garbs, that's reminiscent of in the UNIA, the Black Cross nurses, or when you see the FOI suited and booted marching the streets, that's reminiscent of the African Legion or the Black Legion in the UNIA. That the auxiliary groups of brotherhoods and sisterhoods, that the man or the organization that led the way in the 20s before NOI comes in the 30s is the UNIA led by Marcus Mosiah Garvey, a Jamaican. And so Khalid Muhammad, in his latter days even spoke to that like these organizations, the NOI is one of my favorite organizations, but even some of their inspiration lays on the ground of Garvey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's not to take away from nothing that the messenger did, that nothing that the minister does today, but it's to acknowledge that we all in every organization exist in the ecosystem. in the same way that Tendea family is inspired by much of our history and so many groups, that the NOI is not exempt from that. So even the work of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, some of that, you see sprinkles of some of that in the UNIA. So that's something to keep in mind. Marcus Garvey wrote a book, Message to the People. Messenger Elijah Muhammad has Message to the Black Man. Is it coincidence? I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to the work of Black people and African people, not just in America, but across the world, we can't just deny that a lot of the movement and the work that has happened on this side in the United States of America has been a great contribution from people that don't have their roots here, not even their roots, that don't have a long history of being here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And one of the things I see you proper perspective in the back. I'm gonna bring you up soon. So I appreciate that. And I've heard that too, where they typically lift up the NOI as a premier group and try to downplay things like the UNIA. Peace and power to Brother Everett, President Everett Winchester in the chat. He sent love to you, Brother Elijah.
Yeah, peace. That's my big brother.
But I think though, even their logic is just horrible. It's bad. It's bad logic. Because even if the Nation of Islam doesn't use the word African, they have, or they'll use the word Black and then some other terms that people debate over. But the reality is, all Black people everywhere are considered members of the NOI, or can be members of the NOI. So it's kind of like, dude, like, what are you talking? Like, how do you lift this group up? And they also are very specific that Black people everywhere are one family.
Exactly.
So their logic just is horrible. So I mean, but what they do is they don't care about nobody. The reality is, Tariq Nasheed doesn't care about nobody. He will use whoever he can, and he'll attract some fools in all the different groups to follow his hypnosis, even over what they're being taught, because they find it, first of all, because they're trauma and they're angry and they're just frustrated, and they'll say things like, there's no Africans doing anything anywhere. The only place where we do Pan-Africanism is here in the United States. Then they'll say there's no other people that are from different places. For example, even here at a town hall we just did not too long ago, me and Brother Jabari, Natur, shout out to Chairman Jabari.
Yeah.
There was a comment that, where are the Africans? Where are the Caribbeans? I'm talking about in the Pan-African circle. But I kind of want to help us out a little bit. And I get it, because I get the frustration at times. But we have to use statistics. You went to school. You probably took a statistics class or something like that, right? Did you do good in the statistics?
I made my way.
But
thank God.
You said you made your way.
Yeah, thank for him out. Yeah.
Political science, right? Okay. So a political science major. So the thing, so my problem with that comment is that there's no Africans here. There's no Caribbeans. Where are they? They're in TNET. Temple of New African Thought. Here in Baltimore, we're hosting a town hall with lots of Black people in here. And then you say, where are they? Now, first of all, why I'm saying statistics is important is that they only make up collectively 10% of the population. I'm talking about Black immigrants from other places.
Right.
So it's not like they're going to be knocking down the rafters.
That's right.
That's almost like saying, where are the other African Americans? Because there's only a few of us, and you said doing great work nonetheless.
That's right.
Right here in Baltimore. If you went around Baltimore City and went to any type of big event, that'd be like saying, well, all the Pan-Africanists, you're going to get a few. And then you'll get some that's kind of like maybe aligned, or they that type of thing. I'm just trying to show
Yeah.
how small the numbers are of Black immigrants to come to this country.
Mhm.
So you can't expect that 100% of them are going to show up.
That's right.
So when you're dealing with small numbers, you only got 40 people in the audience. You got, even if you did 10% of that, 40 people, what's 10% of 40?
Is that 4? What is that?
Yes. So, okay. So 10% of 40, if 4 showed up in the room, you almost got a sample size that is consistent with the population, right? So now the problem I have with that comment is that how you judging who is African? You think that you can look at everybody who's African? You can look at everybody that's Caribbean and you can just tell where they're from.
Yeah.
In fact, I realize there's people in your organization that are not necessarily from this particular country.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
That's
what
one
I
thing.
wanted to say. Yeah.
I wanted you to talk to that. But 2, I'm literally saying you in a facility and my damn wife is from Jamaica.
Come on now.
All right, so talk about it. Look, you know anybody in your
one thing I wanted to mention is that the longest serving male member in my organization outside of myself is a brother that his history is not in this country. His family is from Nigeria and Gabon, but yet he is absolutely committed to the work that we do within Tindare family and serving Black people here and everywhere. And one of the things I also wanted to say is that many times, and this is my brother, and this is my brother Ihani. But many times I've gotten into disputes with people that I went to high school with, or went to middle school with, or even people that's in my family about Ihani. They didn't have no issue with him because he's from the continent, but because they'd be like, well, we grew up with you, and it's like, well, but when I'm on Monument Street doing this work with the kids and my life is in danger, none of you Negroes is there. But my brother Ihani, that's not from here and not even from this, didn't even be raised in this city. He's from New York, but yet he's absolutely committed to Black people within Baltimore City and willing at any moment to risk his life for it. And nothing's gonna happen to us. Ancestors forbid, God forbid, universe forbid, nothing's gonna happen to us. But however, every day in and day out, he's working for Black men, women, children, and community in a down the hill East Baltimore neighborhood that he's not even from, and he's not even from this, and his family not even from this country. So
yeah, that's serious, and I think that lots of times, and I didn't know where Ihani was from. I found out when we came to Bowie, I was like, for real? I didn't even think he was from. Look, first and foremost, I thought he was from Baltimore.
That's right.
I was like, hold up. I'm finding out that your parentage is from here, and then you grew up a part of your life in New York. So yeah. I'm like, oh wow. So again, I appreciate that, brother. And he's the longest. Look, as long as I sing you, as long as I sing him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's real talk.
And I would say, not only is he committed, but and the members of Tindare committed, but these brothers and sisters that be in Tindare, like, he not only work on the behalf of the neighborhood. For those that know East Baltimore, like, he lives down the hill.
Talk about it.
I live down the hill, and our core staff, we all live down the hill. We're not just visiting a neighborhood, serving, and then after we get off the clock, we going home, and we live among white people. Like, no, we live in the neighborhood that we serve.
Right.
And so he's committed. Some of the people that would criticize a person like him live among white people. And so that's what it comes down to, is that we got to understand that, like, it's not about, FBA, ADOS, Continental. This is about us as a people and liberation all across the world.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm gonna bring in proper perspective. Professor Shabazz. Make sure y'all go out there and check his channel out, family. The Proper Perspective on YouTube. Brother Proper, what it is, man? What we got? What we doing? What it be? Hold up, can I hear you? Hold up, I'm not sure if I can hear you, cuz.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You hit the right button.
Yeah, there we go. What's going on? Peace to everybody. What's going on, cuz? How you doing?
Hey, peace, bro.
Peace to you, bro. I just wanted to touch on something. It's sort of trying to answer the question, but I just wanted to like the lead question about Pan-Africanism is dead. Not that I disagree with anything that y'all have already laid out. I just wanted to say, like, one of the things I like to do is look at Pan-Africanism under the umbrella of business ventures. And so I think it's very funny that you get all of these people, the FBAs, the ADOS and whatnot, trying to say Pan-Africanism is dead, Pan-Africanism don't do anything. And I'm like, you know, if you look at the medical field, it's more than 21,000 African-born physicians that keep Black Americans healthy and alive in all these Black cities: Detroit, Baltimore, Houston, Richmond, New York, whatever. That's to me, that's an aspect, an element, a manifestation of Pan-Africanism. Those are continental Africans, and they work over here. We see them, they treat us. That's Pan-Africanism to me. The Ghanaian business entrepreneur who put $9 million into a Black-owned bank in Chicago. It was a bank that was about to go bankrupt. It was going federal liquidation. They were going to shut it down. And that Ghanaian entrepreneur was like, I'll put $9 million on. We're going to keep it open. It's still running today. It would have shut down. It's still serving the Black community, the African-American foundational Black American community, the Caribbean Black community in that area, the African immigrant Black community in that area. They all still take use and get use of that bank because of that Ghanaian entrepreneur. That's Pan-Africanism. That's right. You got the Federation of African, Caribbean, and American restaurant owners in Queens, New York. They run a co-op business. That's three different sets. That's the foundationals, that's the Caribbeans, that's the continentals, all working together in a restaurant co-op. That's Pan-Africanism. There's a Black guy from Houston who started his own t-shirt company. He got a contract through or with the Nigerian government to clothe the Olympic athletes from Nigeria. And he sources his cotton from Black American farmers in Alabama and North Carolina. Supply chain locked down, black hand from America to the continent. So there's just so many different examples of what people who have the spirit of Pan-Africanism, people who believe that we are connected, we should be connected, and there are ways for us to work together, and they're doing the work. They're not online screaming about it, but they're getting work done. There's Conda Mason and the Black farmers in Louisiana who built the first Black-owned solar-powered rice mill in the United States on a former plantation. And the Black farmers own the deeds, and they're working together, shipping and all this other stuff. There's Dre Taylor, who is an African-American, foundational Black American from Kansas City. He went to Ghana. He did whatever he had to do to get installed as a chief. He built 150 homes in Ghana. He's running a 14-city tour in America, teaching young Black Americans about land acquisition and dual citizenship strategies.
Hey, cuz, hold up, cuz I had to step out for a minute, and I think I heard you say you describe somebody as foundational Black American. Did you do that? Hold up.
No.
I'm doing too much fighting out here.
No.
Look, hold up, cuz. Hold up. Did he self-identify as foundational Black American?
Oh, hell no. I'm just using it facetiously.
In Dawes Lecture Hall, we banned the FBA term as a catch-all term for African Americans.
I feel you. And you know I do too. I'm being facetious just to make the point that these are African Americans. These are African Americans beyond a shadow of a doubt.
One more time. That's why we got to do it 3 times to wipe that out. African Americans don't even get it.
African Americans.
Don't
These
even
are
get into
African-
lexicon. All
these
right,
are
let me.
African
I
Americans.
had to step out and use the restroom real quick, and you was holding down. And I'm in there listening like FB, foundational Black American. But Dr. Ball will be on here tomorrow just to let you know. And look, me and Elijah and Dr. Ball, we got some history. So nonetheless, he gonna be on here. We gonna be talking about all this business stuff that you talking about. But go ahead.
Oh, good. Like I said, I just I wanted to, because I've been covering this thing and I've been doing research and whatnot, and I'm like, it's so many different examples. Because there's a credit union in St. Louis, there's a coffee farm in Tanzania, there's a shea butter pipeline in Ghana. All of these things are African Americans who have started businesses working with Africans on the continent. Some of them have gone to the Caribbean to set up businesses in coffee and tea and trade and commerce. And they're even going to the point where they're trying to close the supply chain so that and this is not a knock. There are some African American owned businesses where they may have to do business with China. That's not a knock. But what they're doing is saying, I want the store, I want the raw materials, I want the shipping, I want it all in Black hands. And they're working with Black people all across the diaspora to do it.
Okay.
So this is the definition of Pan-Africanism not being dead. It's absolutely alive. It may not be the whole Black community, but it is a vibrant, thriving movement of people who are working together to get things done, to make money and earn an income. That's all I want to say.
Beautiful.
Appreciate it, cuz. You got anything
I'll
fall
back.
No, it was excellent. He laid it down.
Yeah, he want to come in here and end the show. Don't come in and end the show, cuz. Come on, man. Come on now. Come on. Look. I'm gonna let you fall back. I see brother KP's in the chat. So you hang on.
All right, it's cool. Peace.
Brother KP, what it is, man. Let the people know where you're calling from if they don't already know, and talk to my dear brother, Chairman Elijah Miles.
Yeah, first, props to Chairman Miles. I've heard about the legendary work that you're doing in the Baltimore community. In fact, someone near and dear to my heart has worked with you in Baltimore on some of your initiatives. Both y'all, share the Morgan State background, but I'm gonna leave the name out. Just, to avoid putting it out there on stream. So props to you, brother.
You left out one part. Where you calling from?
Oh, yeah, Miami, Florida. Right now I'm in Miami, Florida.
Okay,
I'll be back in the DMV real soon. You know what I'm saying? So, what I wanted to do is just remind us to put this thing in a historical framework. Like when we look at the logistics of Pan-Africanism relative to North America, we have that during the period of involuntary migration, aka slavery, there was a reinforced population of new Africans brought at varying times from various regions of Africa that came in and comprised what becomes the then freedmen community or Black American community. Now, that period went up until 1807. In 1808, the Non-Importation Act attempted to stop the importation of new Africans from various regions, right? I'm pointing out for a specific reason, because there's this idea in this FBA ADOS thing that Black Americans are this, again, monolithic, homogenous, single indigenous group that is not diverse, that all share a same lineage. That is false. Now, from 1808 until the end of the Civil War, in 1865, you had that attempted blockage of bringing in new Black bodies. But after the Civil War, after 1865, all the way through 1924, Black diasporans, Black migrants, Black immigrants, I say all three purposely, because Black people, once we're free, started to move throughout North America. Some, some who were in Canada came back in, some left to go to Canada, Mexico. So Black people have been mobile and been moving within the United States. But then there were Black immigrants, primarily from the Caribbean. A few Africans even start showing up as they move into cities like New York, Boston, mostly along the East Coast. but some come in through New Orleans, right? With the United Fruit companies that were trading goods into the United States. I'm bringing this up specifically to move against this, again, myopic FBA ADOS idea of this singular black mass of people that ain't changing, that's pure, and that's always been the same. The point I'm really trying to make, dear Dr. Winkler and dear brother from Tendaya, is that the black community as it exists today has one that's always been reinforced by black, quote unquote, others or exotics from outside, right? Oftentimes that movement of people in and movement out has been not on the books. You know what I'm saying? The census is far from perfect. Immigration records and tracking is far from perfect, especially when you're dealing with capitalist corporations that wanted to like bring in laborers from the Caribbean because, you know, they couldn't get black people in the fields and stuff like that. So a lot of this work is still being documented, but I'm just bringing these things up to, again, speak against this idea of this static. And what this is in actuality related to the show's topic is Pan-Africanism in motion, physically. Black people from around the world, the world, right? Coming together, meeting in various sites around the world, including here in the United States. So when we look at this person, Miss Me 3916 in the chat, she has no idea that when they're talking about, for instance, black doctors who during Jim Crow, some of those people are Caribbean. Some of those people are from Africa, right? The John Russwurm was of Jamaican parents, and he starts the first black journal in the early 19th century, for instance, right? Just as an example of the kind of contributions that black diasporans and immigrants have made to the historical fight against white supremacy.
Brother KP,
in the United States. I'll end there. I'm sorry.
No,
Excellent.
I like to hear something. I like to hear, like, I appreciate the breakdown as well. I'm just curious to what exactly are you responding to that you brought that information forth, because I think that a little context would probably give us a little
well,
understanding.
I was animated by the discussion in the chat, which is again based on the FBA ADOS ideology that Black Americans, African Americans, again, are static. They're a group that's been indigenous, that's always been here, and that Black immigrants, like myself, are somehow a threat to them because, like Miss Me said a little while ago, this person in the chat, he or she, I don't know, Miss, I assume it's a she with Miss in front of it, but hey, I could be wrong, you know. But anyway, she said something about Black immigrants hurting African Americans by taking scholarships that ought to go to Black Americans. And so this is a point that FBA draws back upon as an example of the harm that Black immigrants are doing to Black who they call the FBA, right? And I would argue that that is not necessarily something that hurts anybody per se, if one just shifts the lens a bit and looks at the perspective. For the most part, and as you've talked about on your show many times, Doc, Black immigrants become Black within one generation, right? They marry into families such as your own, right? The children become socialized into African America. The African American history they learn about Frederick Douglass, they learn about Harriet Tubman in these schools, right? So this, if you choose to look at this as a negative, then, you know, I don't think you could support that when in actuality, there's a plethora of examples of Black diaspora and immigrants who come in and joined these movements and fights, boosted numbers, added ideas. I mean, I forget who the brother was in the chat, but he said if we were to list those individuals, we'd fill up the chat for the entire show with individuals who, you know, have contributed to this fight. And this is not to say that all Black immigrants come over with this this mentality. You know, for some, there's a process, right, to understand that you're Black in this country and that has a particular social and political context. But for the most, so it's a matter of perspective. I think,
they have a problem FBA has a real problem, and what I mean by that is they have a problem that they will they move the goalposts all the time. They have circular reasoning. First, they say things like they say they're not black. And then when they say they black, they say they not black. We can only be black. And then they say things like we not no African. They don't want us to be African. But then when somebody say you African, then you're not African. And I appreciate the historical let's say perspective and framework you brought. You in proper perspective. Now, I like to always bring it to the current. Like I like to bring the historical, like I like to say if we would pump up and push what's actually going on today, it'll be stronger. Like, for example, I always give the example, and you know this, KP. Sojourner Douglas College, Pan-Africanist, African-centered institution, independent school. And I said if we pushed it more, it would probably still be here. See, we talk about what we don't have, and we talk about history, and that's important. That's essential. But again, we have to talk about those things that are going on today because do both. It's a both and, right? So now I want to hear, Brother Chairman, what it like more, because I know you are doing a lot. And I know I've asked you this question numerous times through the interview, but I know that you're doing things on a daily basis. So what's some of that what is some of this Pan-African inspiration, African-centered culture? What does this look like on a daily basis? And you can y'all, KP, you can stay right there, Brother Cuz, you can stay right there. Anybody else want to join on this conversation, please join us on this chat. But tell us about that, Chairman.
So Tindad family is so multifaceted, and I'll give you a couple different things, but Tindad family is so multifaceted that it's similar to the Garvey movement. It's similar to movements of the past or the Black Panther Party when they was doing all these different programs. So Tindad family is so multifaceted, but I'll give you a couple things. Is that one is the cadet program that I brought up, that we're working with kids primarily in our neighborhood, but from other neighborhoods, making sure that they know who they are, hiring them, making sure they get paid for doing community work, and also teaching them how to do community work so that they can lead. Number two is the membership of Tindad family, the people that join. Some people, we got somebody that's getting off of Suboxones right now that's joining. We got people that's getting off of that's getting off of marijuana and things like that. So the people that come through Tindad family, all of them not college graduates. We got people in Tindad family that didn't graduate from high school that have transformed their life based on the information and the things that we've put in their lives. So that's a big part. Another thing is the safe passage, the patrols. Every day, people say black men need to be out there patrolling their community. We don't need to rely on the government. We don't need to rely on this. Well, Tindad family exemplifies that. Every day, we're out there patrolling our community. We're engaging the people that's selling drugs and saying, yo, would you like a job to get off these streets? We can connect you to a job, but also saying, hey, man, a time is going to come where we're not allowing drugs in our neighborhood in general, but until we can give you the proper resources, cool, but we having that militant stance. We engage in the people that's suffering from drug addiction and making sure they're getting connected to detox and things like that if they desire detox, but also that they respecting the community even though they're suffering from addiction. We're doing groups with women called the Sisters Dinner, where women are getting together and creating safe spaces for women and talking about history, but also talking about the modern problems that they're dealing with and having a healing space to solve those problems and going forward. The alternative to that is Man to Man, which is the men's program where men are getting together and people are having safe spaces. And now outside of these safe spaces, if a brother is saying, man, I need help paying my rent and I need help doing this, we're pooling our resources to make that happen so that we can support each other. But then also we institution building. We just brought a building on Monument Street. We're a young group and a young organization, but we brought a building on Monument Street. And I mean brought a building. We didn't get a loan to get a building. We don't got a mortgage. We brought a building on Monument Street, one of the biggest business districts in a black community in Baltimore City. We brought a building on Monument Street. And then lastly, I would say that Tendea family itself is an institution. We have a hired staff of over 12 people that did 9 to 5, their livable wage, how they feed themselves and provide for their family is because of their commitment and service inside Tendea family. And we're honored to be able to do all those things and then some.
Appreciate that. Any other responses, Brother Proper or Brother KP, as we wrap this one on down?
Somebody speaking. I think he's.
Hold on. You said somebody speaking?
I think Proper is speaking.
Proper, you speaking? Give me a thumbs up if you're speaking. Hold up. Oh, you're not speaking. Okay, thumbs down. All right, Brother KP, I saw you come off mute. You got something?
No. I just it's a good show, important show as always, and like you said, sometimes like the Kung Fu brother from the chat just said, it's like speaking into the void because when people are in this cult, they don't necessarily listen to logic or reason or care about facts and history. So I guess you just got to keep on putting it out there, man, and then some will hopefully come to the realization that Black immigrants are not your enemy. Black immigrants have been here, are here, and therefore are self-interested in improving the plight of Black people generally. That is, by definition, operational Pan-Africanism in a North American sphere. So, I mean, I don't understand how delineating or disassociating or dividing Black unity is going to be helpful to a Black agenda or Black goals. No so-called FBA ADOS has been able to argue that in a logical way. And so that's the point I want to continue to make, that we are stronger together. I know it sounds corny because a lot of people use that motto, but in reality, our historical experience shows that to be true. Again, you could cite the Garveys and the Farrakhans and the Malcolms and the Stokeleys and the Constance Baker Motleys. The names and the legacy and the history is real and continues to unfold that way. So Pan-Africanism is real, operational, and evolutionary. And unless you're going to get some federal legislation to stop Black immigrants from coming in, oh, damn, that's right. Trump is already pursuing that. And this FBA ADOS is playing right into their hands by supporting and giving cover for this anti-Blackness that's in play as we speak. So we'll just continue on with that. So, yeah. But peace to y'all, man. Good show.
Peace. Got anything there, Chairman?
Yeah, one of the things I say, man, just listening to y'all, and now that I got a chance, I'm looking at the comments as y'all talk, and it really is sad that we live in a time that we have to debate this, because it's so many other issues that are happening within our community that require time, energy, resources, scholarly attention. But it's this confusion that's coming up about identity that is just created, and we got to debate, this random thing, and it's so many other different things that are going on. We're dealing with the miseducation of our people and our kids in schools. We're dealing with lack of institutions and things like that, and there's so much work and building that has to happen. But we debating with folks about basic reality, that we are indeed an African people, and that the brothers and sisters, no matter whether they be in the Caribbean or the continent or wherever, they are our brother, indeed our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and even that response, because lots of times people don't even know who are doing work, don't even know the extent to FBA exists on the internet, and even in people's minds who have never ventured to the internet, like, because the illness seeps out into the general public.
Yeah,
and you'll hear them saying things they don't even know who Tariq Nasheed is. You'll hear them saying things they never met an FBA, but they have all the talking points, right?
It got down to them.
Then yes, just like it just travels, like misinformation travels fast.
That's right.
Right. So then the mindset, they not like us. The mindset that, you know, it travels and it's very, people are impressionable because they hurt. People, you know, and even it's sadly enough, even a lot of people who I've known around the country, I mean, not known, that I know around the country, they actually have bought into this. You know what I mean? I got home. I mean, when I say home, I'm saying comrades.
Right.
I'm saying, you know, because I used to be a part of African Village and Culture Center with Dr. Rehagans. So I have people everywhere. Now they saying we ain't African. They not like us. You know, and what they doing, they usurping a lot of the cultural talking points. They even usurping people like Amos Wilson. They're like quoting Dr. Amos Wilson and call themselves FBA. You know, it's very, you know, it's a very fangled type of ideology. I point that as an ideology because I understand there's a sick idea or a set of ideas that are combined together that this guy Tariq Nasheed is using to manipulate people, to use people. He has them believing it's not a group. That's why I say it's a group, because he has them believing it's not a group.
I ain't your leader.
Yeah, he has them believe. So I want to be very clear. You in a cult. And I'm being real honest, because the fact is it is a, when I say cult, I'm saying a coercive cult. I ain't look. I'm saying sometimes I say, look, in the black community, some things need to look like one. Because look, what we got right now in this culture, it needs a counterculture.
Definitely.
And a counterculture typically sometimes look like something that people say, oh, they're organized and they're coming together. They're eating vegetarian diets or whatever, you know, whatever it is. They're pescatarian or they just looking out for their health. So now that looks like a cult. Okay. Now the thing is it a coercive cult? Is it undue influence? Is it mind control? No, but that's different. But when you talk about Tariq Nasheed, he has them under a spell. The spell is so good that they don't even think that he is their leader. He's that leader, he's that daddy, he's that inspiration, he's that influencer. I don't care what words you use. He motivates them. They wake up and they will protect you. And you ask them one thing they disagree with. And I swear, I thought it was like, you ask them, they're like, well, I disagree. Then you say, with what? Then they stumble. They can't tell you a thing. That is a coercive mind control campaign. If look, I don't want people around me that can't disagree with something I say.
Come on.
I like look, please disagree with something. Even if you're wrong, I'll fight you because I'm a fighter when it comes. Look, we're gonna fight. Just get used to that.
That's right.
But look, I don't want you. Look, okay, I know I'm fighting with you, but I do want you to disagree. Because if you disagree with me on everything I say, it's nothing. I can't believe that you really are like really listening to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't believe that you really like are really engaged in this process. Like, you can't, like, you gotta disagree. Look, try to disagree with me, but they cannot disagree with Tariq Nasheed. He has them under undue influence. We have another brother here, Bit Max. What it is, Bit Max? Where you calling from? What is your how do you identify? And where you calling from? What's happening? Talk to the chairman.
Peace, family. Yeah, I'm African American. I identify as African American. I'm calling from North Carolina.
Okay. You starting out all right now. You starting out all right. Bit Max, what it is? Talk to us.
No, brother. I was just listening to the conversation, and it's actually very disheartening to see how a lot of our people have bit the fruit that Tariq gave them, and now are moving us backwards. It seems like every time we take 2-3 steps forward, you know, we always got to take 2 or 3 steps backwards. And I don't know if y'all familiar with what happened with Ibrahim Toure. I think it was last year where it was a hands-off Ibrahim Toure solidarity march that was all over the world, where black folks were saying, if you touch him, you touch us all. And it was the first time in a long time that black people, African people, had came together collectively and said to the world, if you touch one of us, You touch him, you touch us all. And that was a power move that was made because it had never happened like that on a grassroots level. All right. And for that to happen, and then 3 to 4 months down the road, you got all this crazy stuff going on with Black people saying they're not African, what's going on in South Africa, right? It seems as if it was a conservative effort to stop that momentum of what was going on when everybody was saying hands off Ibrahim Traoré, hands off AES, right? And I just seem like if people can't sit back and realize how it has ratcheted up since then, they're not paying attention. That was scary to the world. That was scary to the people in charge because they have never seen nothing like that before. And I think it scared them. And now this is the pushback that we're getting. I think they let their sleeper cells go. And that's what we have, man. And it's sad that we have to talk about and deal with it. And like y'all saying, a lot of these people, they not active in their own communities. If you go to their community and you ask the people who stay around them, do they help one another? I bet you a homeless person or a brother can be or a sister can be around them, ask them for $1 or $2, they probably won't even help them, man. And that's the worst thing about it. It's like, because on the internet, you can be who you want to be. But in real life, you got to be who you are. And I think that this gives people, you can be who they want to be on the internet. So they can talk like they want to talk and act like they want to act on the internet. But in real life, they ain't putting in no work, man. And I appreciate y'all, brothers. I think that we just got to keep moving forward, keep our foot on their neck, and weed them out, man, because it don't make sense. And I want one of them to answer this question for me. They always say that the purpose of ADOS or FBA is for reparations. They want to separate from everyone else in the name of reparations. But if you're saying you're not African, how is that helping you get reparations? Saying that the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen. Saying that Africans wasn't brought here and enslaved. And America has documented it, the people that they enslaved. They documented when they enslaved the Indians and they documented when they enslaved the Africans. So if you're saying you're not African and you don't come from Africa, how is this helping you get reparations? It seems like it's moving the goalposts further away from getting reparations than actually getting it. And I want one of them to answer that question for me. How is this helping us get reparations if you're descendants of slaves? And that's it, man. I don't want to hold up y'all time.
You're 100% right, caller. You're 100% right.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate y'all.
Stay connected, family. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe to this channel. We have Dr. Jared Ball coming in tomorrow. We got a strong community here of thinkers and actors. Actually, we have
scholars. Yep.
Yeah, we have a lot, right? And we have a documentary coming up. Want to make sure we get you.
Wow.
We're working on it. So we need all of Baltimore and surround like those connected here to really show who we are and how impactful we are and how we, like Pan-Africanism for me in the Baltimore area, even if you don't even identify with it or African-centeredness, it's like if you don't even identify as such, you've been touched by it. It's almost like when I think about Philly, people it's a lot of Muslims up there, right? Like even if you're not Muslim, you've been touched by it, right? Yeah. Because I hear people coming like, "It's something about y'all here in Baltimore. Y'all got this like African Senate, this black, this thing." And sometimes I don't think we often understand how people see us when they come here. And then black people love it. Like they know Baltimore is kind of you hear about a lot of things about Baltimore, but a lot of people I know who come here, especially if they about movement, they say, "Man, we got something going on here." Yeah. We just the only after a while they say, "I wish everybody could just work together."
Yeah,
they say that, right? They say that part, but they like it's something here that they have not found anywhere else. And I'm saying though, look, even the working together in the collaboration, we have to look at it. I think even a little bit different than that because many of us are working together. Can we do it better? I don't really say we can do it better. I know we will do it better. You understand? So with that, I also want to say, let me see. I had something. What did I put here? You have something, Chairman?
One thing that
Can I
came to
add
mind.
something? Can I add something real fast, fellas?
Oh, Big Mac, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
One quick thing. Also, when people say Pan-Africanism is dead, right? A lot of people who say that don't travel to Africa. So, like, I'm someone who go to Ghana quite often. And so I be in Ghana and I be around people who are practicing Pan-Africanism. It's not something that you talk about. People are living Pan-Africanism, right?
Yeah.
You got communities that's in all African American communities in Ghana, right? I think the last time I checked, they said like 1% of the total population in Ghana is like expats, and they named the 7th region for descendants of slaves, the 17th region, I mean, right? So you have a lot of people that are going there and not just talking Pan-Africanism, living it, breathing it every single day. And they ain't online debating folks talking about it's dead. They're showing you that it's alive with the works that is being done. And I think, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't get to see. Even, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I went to Ghana and went live on TikTok and let them see me in Ghana, and they still were trying to come up with reasons to show that we're divided. I'm actually walking down the street talking to random people, asking them what do they think about us, and they all saying we brothers, y'all need to come back home, come home, we love y'all, right? But they still want to go against the grain, man. So I'm at the point wherein I think these people are psyops. I think they're getting paid. I think that they have an agenda, and they're just pushing that agenda, and that's just what it is. And how Malcolm said, the chicken's gonna come to roost. The shit gonna hit the fan eventually. So you keep separating yourself away from the rest of the African people around the world. And when things get to a certain point here in America, you're gonna wish you had them connections back to the continent and back to the rest of our brothers and sisters, man. And that's what I said. People got to get out, man. Get out and travel. It's okay to do what you're doing in your community and in your state and in the country, but travel and see. And now I would admit that some of them may be late to the party. That's we can say that. We can say, okay, well, you know, some of the African countries, they may be late to the Pan-African party. We can say that because of what they had been going through in their countries, right? But they're here. The AES is here. The AES is here. Like, how can you say Pan-Africanism is dead? And you got 3 African countries right now that is banded together under Pan-Africanism and going against imperialism and the Western nation. Like, how can you actually? I just don't understand it, man. I really don't understand it, fellas. I'm perplexed. I'm done.
I think that if you try to understand that which is illogical, that which is created through trauma, that which is created through disorder, you will become disordered yourself. So
illness will make you ill.
Yeah. So just understand it's disordered, illogical, and dysfunctional. Brother Chairman, what you got?
One of the things that came to mind was that we as Pan-Africanists and all those that identify with Pan-Africanism, let's make sure we do our part in this generation to out-organize these types of folks. Because as we know, they're fundamentally like an online hashtag, flood your comments, troll type thing. And like I said, you know, the masses of our people don't know them. Maybe certain generations and certain pockets, but when I'm in Baltimore City, a fundamentally black city, is wide open. It's wide open. And so we got to make sure that we're doing everything we can, that if we're on the sidelines right now, that we get in the game, that we support organizations, that we become members of organizations, that we do tangible work for our people, because that's what it's going to take, man. Like our youth, black boys and girls, we got to make sure that it's in their face. And so if you ever in Baltimore City and in here for a weekend, man, come join Tendare family. You will hear kids of all ages that are saying red for the blood, black for the people, green for the land, chanting it. You'll see the Pan-African liberation flag, Garvey's flag waving. You'll see and be able to witness Pan-Africanism in action. And I encourage everybody to be a living testament of Pan-Africanism in action.
I appreciate that. Family, I'm gonna come back to you, Chairman, and let you close out. But I just want to make sure the panelists, those on the panel, do y'all have anything else before we wrap this up, Brother Perspective, Brother KP, before we get up out of chair?
Yeah, I'll just quickly add to what Brother Big Mac just laid down. Again, Pan-Africanism in motion. Just want to extend that to the ongoing efforts for Pan-African cooperation in business, investments here in the United States, on the continent, and in the Caribbean. In fact, in the Caribbean, Ghana, Barbados, Ghana, Jamaica, that linkage is building stronger than ever. And again, just to be fair and balanced with it, yeah, there's some rough spots. There's, this thing doesn't work seamlessly and perfectly. It's an evolutionary work in motion, Pan-Africanism. And where mistakes are made, corrections need to follow. But this thing is building, as it always has, for more than 100 years. First Pan-African Congress from Trinidadian Henry Sylvester Williams, and into today, right? And so if somebody wants to point to a mistake, an error, a beef, you will find that within Pan-Africanism. You will. And no one's saying that this is utopia or perfect movement, ideology, or there's no perfect Pan-African organization. This requires work. And why? Because our black asses are on the line. We need a place for our babies and their babies in the future. And that's the essence of what Pan-Africanism is all about. So again, peace to y'all. Good works.
Peace,
appreciate it. And I like to say there's no, I don't know. I just like, yeah, I always appreciate your approach, KP, of, trying to show the other side of the thing. But I just think that's reality, that all organizations, there's no, I don't care if there's white, black, Asian, if there's FBA made up organization and cult, there's always this thing. Like, I don't even like the word, there's no perfect, to be honest with you. I think that we're striving for perfection, but at the end of the day, like, there's nothing different in our humanness in the Pan-African organization. I will say that you do have all of that everywhere, but I will say that the commitment is here. And sometimes we do that to play down for the FBA people, but they should be intelligent enough to know that people will be people wherever they go. And I will say, if you compare Pan-Africanism, I'm just going to be real frank, against anything the FBA has going on, there's no question. FBA in inception is faulty. Whereas Pan-Africanism, you might have some faulty things or some struggles going on within it, but in its inception and its creation is not. So, Brother Proper, you got something?
I thought I had something, but I didn't lost it. So go ahead. Don't worry about it.
You done lost it. All right. I see Bitmax came back up. Did you have something before we wrap up and I turn it back over? I'll say a few words and turn it back over.
One quick thing. An organization is ULU. I don't know if y'all familiar with Us Lifting Us, based in Atlanta. ULU is Us Lifting Us. It's a Pan-African group, cooperative economic group where we put our money together and we invest in different projects and startups all over the world. And I just want to say this, when the president of Ghana came to the United Nations to get that that resolution passed of the transatlantic slave trade being one of the greatest atrocities in the world, right? The FBA was against that, right? So if you fighting for reparations, and a sitting president of another country put a resolution on the floor to get the transatlantic slave trade listed as one of the greatest crimes against humanity, and you go against that, like, what is your real purpose, man? What is your real purpose? You went against that, but yet you fight for reparations. Like, come on, man, make it make sense. It don't make sense at all. That's it, man. Thank y'all for allowing me to come up.
I appreciate it. You know, wow. I'm going to say a few words. I'm gonna turn over to you to kind of anything we missed out on, anything that you want to touch on, leave whatever you need to, you know, let the people stay connected with you and all those type of things. But something came up as I was I can't remember which individual came up and they started talking today. It might have been something KP. No, Bitmax said something. And and I think you kind of responded. And one of the things that people say to me that is insulting and frustrating, I'm talking about people that even know me. But then those people online say the same thing. They're like, well, what are you doing? And then I say, first of all, if you know me, I want to smack you. Right. Like probably literally, but really, I don't smack people like that. I'm very self-disciplined, but at least intellectually or verbally, right? But I'm disciplined in that. But I want to say, like, so what is that? But this is for those online, because what they say is, oh, this is what happened. They say, well, you're wasting all your time talking about FBA. You think I'm wasting all my time talking about FBA? Really? I'm like, oh, what are you doing? That's the question. Like, I'm like, just like, it's an easy way. Like, before you say that, why don't you just Google me? I'm being like real honest. Like, I'm a very Googleable person. So for those out there who know me, because a lot of times we don't know what's going on, and I'm not the best promoter of self or organization at times, I'll be honest. But again, I'm real Googleable. Just Google Dennis Asar Winkler. Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler. I know you think, I don't know how, I don't know, you think I get on the internet and I just talk. First and foremost, but for those who know me, when you say it, like, what are you doing? I'm asking you, where have you been? And I just want to show you, it's real easy. It's real easy. Just look, I'm going to show you how to do it. You go to Google, you put a person's name in, and you just go, and then you see what the heck, how it shows up. Like, it's not that difficult, right? It's not that difficult. I mean, and I guarantee you I got more than one page, right? I'm certain. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, just look at this stuff, right? Like, just look, I'm Googleable. You know, I'm just being like real serious about this. I'm really Googleable. I don't know how to say the word. Yeah, that's right. Like it's real. Like, well, how many pages are we on now? We're on 3 pages by now. I'm just saying, like, do the same thing for anybody who comes up here. Do the same thing for Tendare family, PLM. Do do it. I know I'm Googleable. I'm just saying, you won't stop.
Can I speak on just my experience coming here? If you're comfortable with that.
No, you can look. I'm open.
So just to speak on Doc's behalf, and not to speak on his behalf, just so. And I told Doc this. I said, Doc, you keep a building. Ever since I was 18, 19, you just keep a building. You keep an institution. And so as I'm walking in here, you walk in and you got the cultural memorabilia, and that's for sale, some of the books and stuff. Then you walk back to the back, it's a restaurant, a living, breathing Black business. We talking about Asians and complaining about all this stuff. Like, a living, breathing Black business restaurant in the back. He said, hey, you want to check out downstairs? I go downstairs. Martial arts is happening, training our boys and our girls to be able to practice self-defense so they can protect themselves, their family, and our community. He take me upstairs. It's a women's group and a girls group going on in the other room. And he also showed me the offices in which you do counseling and things like that. Is that, yo, it's an institution. Doc, if you're not from Baltimore City, Dr. Asar leads a institution, a living, breathing, real Black organization that you don't have to go back to the 60s and the 70s and say what it was like. It exists. And so the times in which he's online talking about FBA or ADOS and that is probably 1% of 1% of what he actually does. And I'm not even talking about him as a professor at Bowie State University at HBCU, training the next generation of those that's getting their masters and their doctors is going to go out in our community doing real stuff, not Cheyenne Bryant. We ain't gonna talk about that, but doing real stuff to actually heal our people mentally. So man, Doc runs an institution, runs an organization, but he's an institution and an organization in and of itself.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You did it better than I could. It was something that came up for me as you were saying those things, and that's serious, right? And one thing that Bob Imhotep told me, he said, "Stop being modest."
Yeah,
he told me that. I was like saying, he's like, "Stop being modest." He kind of could sense that, and it's true. Like, there's this part of me that like people know me, I'm direct, but there's this part of me that I have historically tried to not come across as flat, like I'm the shit. Excuse my language, right? Like you know, I'm trying to say like. And for so that people won't misunderstand me or think I'm a charlatan, because I can't stand charlatans.
Right.
I'm a charlatan. I have a charlatan detector.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate what you're saying.
I've came to events early on that were your events, and I didn't know it was your event.
Oh,
because the way you move,
mm-hmm.
you wouldn't even because you move humbly, and you probably appear to viewers like this, but like. You really are a humble guy in person. You really are a humble guy that just move and do the work in the shadows and things like that.
Yeah, he said online I sound like look.
Probably sound.
Yeah, because that's facts. That's facts. You know, and so even with, and I'll just tell you, and I'm glad I entered the fight around FBA.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you an idea why I entered it before I let you close out, is that my dissertation and my research, and the reason I even went back to school was to heal us and bring us back together, despite our differences. And I wanted to do research to see, do these differences or the things that we do politically, whether that be African-centered work, whether that be people who are multiculturalists and so on and so forth, people with different religious ideologies, do these things, are there any measurable differences? Meaning, like, as far as to mitigate the responses of Black trauma, and we can talk about that another time. But there are some differences, right? It might not be all the differences that we think, but the reality is, my dissertation is measuring the relationship of race-based trauma. Race-based trauma, racial identity, and spirituality. Wow. So now, what we're talking about with FBA, I am saying, I'm entering the realm as an expert, and I'm saying, like, I'm not just entering this realm. I sound like what's her name? Cheyenne Bryant. What? Not Cheyenne Bryant. What's the sister? The crazy one now, the one that took up for Cheyenne Bryant. Seals. Amanda Seals. Yeah. She's like, I just want you to know, Shannon, I'm an expert. She said, I'm an expert, and it will behoove you to listen to me. But then she came for a whole, she always does that?
Yeah, she always, in every interview, she mentioned that I'm an expert.
Yeah, then she wants to now downplay a whole mental health, like a whole field and practice of sisters who are trying to hold this other sister accountable.
Right.
And saying that like and she can self-diagnose, and she just happens to be an expert in everything from what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, so my research is specifically about racial identity. My research is specifically about trauma. So, and my goal is always to bring us together, even the lost FBA, the lost pretenders, the lost everybody.
Come home.
You know, come home. Heal. And I say that you know, yeah, there is some healing that can come about, and the research supports it through an African awakening. So, Brother Chairman, it was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
It was an honor, and hopefully it's not your last time. Let the people know whatever you got to tell them as we close out here today. Whatever it is, take as little as long as you want, and make sure you do all the things before we get up out of here.
That's right. Hey, thanks a lot for having me. One thing I would say again to the viewers, especially to the people that identify as Pan-Africanists, you got a high standard. You got a high standard because those that know have a greater responsibility than those that don't know. And so if you know, you done read Destruction of Black Civilization, you done read Cheikh Anta Diop, you done studied Naeem Akbar and Amos Wilson, you have a higher responsibility than the masses of our people that may not know all those folks. And so I would encourage each and every one of you to make sure that you the living testament of those folks that came before us, that you the living testament of Garvey or the scholars or the organizers or the leaders or the people that's in our bloodline that endured colonization and enslavement. So make sure that you understand your responsibility and you carrying that out against all the opposition, be internally or externally. Remember that you're the weapon. You're the weapon. Your life, your energy, you the weapon. You're the weapon that we're using to wage war against all the things that plague us as a people and all the enemies that may be against us. So let's make sure that we're doing our duty, our responsibility. Let's make sure that we're making Pan-Africanism relevant in 2026, not just with our words, but with our actions, our day-to-day actions. If you are a Pan-Africanist and you're behaving morally worse than the FBA, then there's a responsibility that you got to hold for that. So you got to make sure that when they see you, they see the great Pan-Africanists of the past in 2026, present day time. And if we do that, it's no group, no mental illness, no cult that can stand against that. Oh, if you would like to follow the work of Tendea Family, you can follow us on everything at Tendea Family, TENDEA Family. Again, at Tendea Family, TENDEA Family. I love everybody that's in the chat, all Black people, including ones that identify as FBA and ADOS. Come on home. Come on home. We are African people, and let's be aware of that and carry that out so that we're 1,000 years from now, as Garvey envisioned it, as other Pan-Africans have envisioned, 1,000 years from now, that Africa is in its glory, but also African people stand in glory, and we return our people to their original greatness. Thank you, family, for listening as long as you did, and peace.
I appreciate that. That was beautifully stated. And as I close out today here, family, I want to say, again, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe to this network. Make sure you go over there to Tendea Family and all. Did you give all the whereabouts? Did you? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, he gave all the whereabouts. Make sure you follow our dear brother and his organization. They're doing great work. Great works. I saw they was up in Detroit not too long ago. So yeah, the connections are happening, family. FBA, ADOS, thanks for the momentum. Sometimes you need a little wake up. But what I will say is, in closing, is that if I had to put my 30-something-year-olds against y'all 30-something-year-olds, I think we'll win.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so you see how dear brother Chairman Elijah came in the building and how he articulated himself, not just for the mere sake of articulation, but put down not just theory, but also application. Our dear brother in the background, studious as ever, you know what I mean? Look, the energy is good. So what I'm saying is, family, make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe to this station. But anyway, I'll put our 30-year-olds. Look, y'all keep saying that FBA and even ADOS. Now I know y'all ain't saying ADOS is the next generation because they old too. And what I'm saying is they're older than me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Look, y'all talk about they look, they're the next generation. They some old brothers and sisters. I'm okay. They middle age. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But look, I ain't hear nothing about the youth. Look, all of y'all my age and above. So stop playing games and stop confusing our children. Family, I'm signing out. Dr. Daw. Conversation with Dr. Daw. Another one, family. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also, family, Daw's Lecture Hall. We appreciate y'all joining us today. I couldn't get in on the conversation as much, but I'm glad that Chairman Elijah got to get in and see some of the things. I guess I didn't, I don't know what he saw, but it seemed like it was some inspiration to say, woo, we got some work to do. Until next time, family, peace and power.
When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back.
If a generalized black woman is doing this and being this, that is that is irresponsible.
No,
Coming with
when
his
you
master's
claim your
degree,
Africanness, you're going to get your mind
showing
back.
me,
Black and I'm proud. Claim your
I agree,
Africanness. Black
because
and I'm
I
proud.
think
I'm telling
that
you.
if
When you claim your
as a
Africanness, you're going to
person
get your
who
mind
has
back.
a page,
what
I
is the status of people
Claim
who
your
have
Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm
FBA?
telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back.
That's why I was laughing because
Black and I'm
I am
proud. Claim your Africanness. Black
I'm
and
not
I'm
saying
proud.
the
I'm telling
framework
you.
doesn't do a thing, but
Become a part of it.
we've been
Embrace it.
Forward to black men
Become a
being the
part of it.
masters, being
Embrace
in
it.
control. We must
Become a
have
part
our
of
own,
it.
only
Embrace it.
that those one of the
Become a
best
part
stories I've
of
ever heard.
Embrace it. When you claim
out
your
of
Africanness, you're going
mastery
to get your mind
that
back.
mental growth takes
Black
place.
and
You've
proud.
been
Claim
misled
your
by
Africanness.
leadership,
Black
for
and
instance,
proud.
that
I'm
thinking
telling
you
you.
can consume.
When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.